So let's color one of the color schemes that we prepared. I think I will do this one, and this one is a great option for the scenes where you don't have any clouds on the page, because it gives us full freedom. So I'll be starting as always with my pencil, indicating where the clouds are, and I'm looking at the color scheme because I want to keep more or less the same composition that we already planned. And I'm using very light movements because I don't want the pencil marks to be visible later. So here we have the wasp or bee, and I want to include her in the sky composition, so I'm just planning my clouds accordingly to her presence. Okay, and when we know more or less where our clouds go, we can remove the lines so they stay barely visible. And when we're done, we can start. I have my markers here. We can start with the first one, which is B110. And we're going to use the same technique as we used on the smaller scale. Flickering movements from the edge to the direction of the clouds. This edge can be a little bit more saturated. Something like that. Here we have the cloud. I'm just going around them because some of them will be white, some of them will be light gray. And I think I want her to be on the blue background, so let's go around the wasp or bee. I'm still not sure. I think it's a wasp. And you see, I'm not trying to be very careful, honestly, because I believe everything can be fixed, so we can fix that later. And I think this area, almost all of it will be filled with clouds. We can leave some space to them. I'm trying not to be very repetitive with my strokes because the clouds are supposed to be random and our brain automatically creates patterns. You see, like they all look the same because we, as humans, we seek harmony. I think something like that will do the job. Okay, let's move to the second one, which is light gray, PG3. Again, I'm following the same color scheme that we did before, so this will be my main reference. Can you color directly from the reference, like looking at the picture? Yes, you can, but if it's complicated, like color study, like in this case, I had to pick carefully the colors that I'm working with. I just work with the mini color scheme. But obviously it's our coloring, we don't have to follow it exactly. I think her wings will be transparent, so let's add some gray here. Then we have some gray down here. More or less, and some gray here as well. This color is so light, so even if it overlaps with the main blue, it's barely visible. So we don't have to try and be very accurate with our strokes. Something like that. Let's fix the B, because we left too much of a blue on the B. I'm not sure if it's a bee or a wasp. I'm still not certain. So when you have to remove a little bit of alcohol marker bleed, it's better to use the paper underneath. So I'm just gonna put a little piece of paper underneath. Maybe even use the chisel tip because it gives more pressure, and we're kind of pushing it down so the paper underneath can get the marker. I'm not even sure it's necessary here because it will be black. Now I realized that the wings are supposed to be transparent, so there is a blue color missing, and we can get back to it and add some blue. That's better. Again, we kind of screwed up the shape, but it's absolutely fine. Okay, let's move to the next color, which is B330. And we're gonna draw cloud shapes over here. Oh, this is fine tip, we need a brush tip. I'm using the same circular movements that I used while I was creating the color schemes. And they kind of repeat the natural cloud shape. Something like that. Here we have another cloud. And here as well. Here as well. I think we're done with purple. We can always add later if we feel like something is missing. What we can't do is to add lighter parts, but with the darker ones, there is always a room for darker colors. So now let's add the warm tone that we have blended, and it's kind of peeking from behind the purple cloud. Getting back to my flickering moment, combining it with the circular ones. like again, this is there are no rules like how to use your markers, so try to experiment and do what fits best for you, for your style. Here we had some warmer strokes as well. Yes, I think here we are missing some more purple clouds, and we can add them easily. Let's just continue the shape that we started. Okay, it's time to darken our clouds, and for this we are going to use MG030. And in this case we're using the natural transparency of markers, because when we start going over it, it creates a beautiful combination for us. This part is still wet, so I might wait a little bit to get back to it, but we can do the rest. And the second layer of like darker cloud is kind of chaotic, because we still want the purple to peek through this. We can add some dots and blobs as always to give it more free and natural look. And let's do the same here. And I'm not overthinking it too much, because we already know how it looks in the end, right? So we're just following what we already have studied. And then we can always adjust it and play with more layers, add some details, and so on. Let me check. Yeah, I think it's dry enough. You see how it creates some painterly gradients inside of clouds. Okay, so now looking at it, I think there is too much white, and we can, obviously this was smaller, right, when we did it. So what we can do, we can get back to the light gray, or even get back to our main blue. I'll start with the light gray, and I'm just gonna darken some of the areas. In this case, like to create like softer edges, we could also use colorless blender. If we feel like it, maybe we will try now. Okay, let's try colorless blender. And in this case, we don't need a special, I still have the piece of paper, but we don't need it. We can just go with the plastic because we just want to give more like watercolor effect to the edges. Sometimes the strokes and streaks actually look well, and sometimes we want to soften them slightly. And as you see, I'm using like the same flickering technique to imitate the initial strokes. We can, I'm not sure, yes, you know what, like let's darken this part. What is great about this color is that when you layer it, it gets darker. Like not all the colors are the same, they react differently in different situations, so it's good to get to know your markers. Like you see, it gives us deeper color, deeper blue. I think so over here we can also go darker. If we have an object in our sky, like in this case this wasp, we can use it to hide our streaks and not to be so accurate with our fills. Like you see, this is whiter and it's almost streakless, and here we have darker color, but because there is an object, it feels kind of natural, as it is supposed to be. And let's darken this corner as well. I think we're getting there. This is where we touched it with the colorless blender. This feels more like watercolor painting than actually coloring with markers. Okay, I think I'm satisfied with my blues for now. What we can do now is to add some white tools, and I'm going to be using posca. My posca is a thick one, which is 1 millimeter. I like to use 0.7, but in this case I only have that one. So what we want to do, we want to create an edge between the white sky and the blue one. And yes, we blurred some of them, but that's how the skies are. Sometimes they are blurry and sometimes they're not. And I'm just adding some strokes and I'm gonna smudge them with my finger. In this case, you should be mindful about what part of your page needs some white, because I'm covering the spaces where I feel like it's needed. You can completely skip this step, but I think it helps to give this cloudy look. You can do some dots and blobs because clouds leave them. You can even add a small cloud here with a few layers of smudging. But also some white one without smudging them also look great. I think the strokes I'm gonna leave as they are. And like this edge. We tried to soften it with the colorless blender, but it didn't work so well. And like again, if something looks like too stiff or too unnatural for you, just smudge it. That's the beauty of posca. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. And then with jelly rolls or any white pen you have, we can try Pentel our jelly roll. We can add some highlights to our darker clouds, again, to define their shape and to create this white edge that will help us. And if we add too much white, we can always color it over so it will not create that much contrast. Let's try a bigger pen. I think maybe this one will be better. And again, you can always smudge it to get the painterly effect. We can even add something inside the shapes. For example, on this part, it looks a little bit too much of white, so we'll get back to it. Let's add the white here. And now, when seeing it on the big scale, I think that maybe my clouds are lacking some of the volume inside of them. And we can always pick the markers that we already used to create the main shapes and add a second layer to it. And we can start by adding small pieces and then maybe decide that this whole area needs to be even darker. I think it looks more interesting, and let's do the same with the other clouds. I'm still not happy with the white strokes, so I'm gonna take the purple one. And this process is actually endless, because you can add as many details, paint over as many times as you want. The main thing is not to give up until you are satisfied with the result. And I think I am.